Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Grace Pod. So today's episode looks a little bit different because I am in a brand new setting. And so I want to give my testimony on how the Lord came through for my Daniel fast. And this is actually living proof. So I'm in my bedroom at the moment. If you don't know what the Daniel fast is, the Daniel fast is 21 days of prayer and fasting where you're cutting out things like alcohol, of course, caffeine, sugary sweets, meats, and I'm sure there's other things that I'm missing on the list, but you get the point. And what makes this different from an actual diet, what makes this actually fasting is you are actually intentionally growing closer to Christ. So spending intentional time with the Lord every day for 21 days. And so I've done this fast for the last 5 years. I do it twice a year, once with my church at the beginning of the year. So it's a really good way to start off the new year. And then I do one a lot of times on my own. So halfway through the year, June, July, somewhere around that time. And every single year, the Lord has showed up in just phenomenal ways. He shows up differently every single time. But I can say that every year I am just, my mind is completely blown. Make sure I'm recording. Okay. I would hate to have been just yapping and then it not be recording. So yeah, I'm in my bedroom right now, and so that is what the Daniel fast is. I have another video of when I actually started the Daniel fast and what I was believing for. So normally, of course, fasting should be somewhat private, or it should be private. In this case, I was fasting with my church, so it's considered a community fast, and so things aren't as private as if you were just to go off and fast on your own. But of course, a lot of things, a lot of your prayer time should be done in private. I made the decision to be a lot more vocal about my fast and what I was expecting, or I'm sorry, what I was hoping for to come out of this fast. And so at the beginning of my fast, I gave a part of my intention. I shared it with my friends and family, my Instagram friends, and that is because I knew that the Lord was gonna show up, and I felt like it was okay for me to do that, because of course, if the Lord is calling me to isolate and to just be between me and Him and not let the world in on anything, of course that's what I'm going to do. But this fast was I was very intentional about sharing those things because I wanted people to see just how good the Lord is, which He doesn't need my fast to show that, but of doing this fast so many times, I always get so excited about sharing what the Lord has done. And so I'm so thankful that I did step out on faith and let people know what I was expecting from the Lord. So I'm sure you're wondering, well, what was I expecting? I was actually believing for a new home and a new job. And obviously, I just wanted to grow closer to the Lord. That should actually be the number one top priority when you're doing this fast. It is a time for you to just grow closer to the Lord. So of course, that was number one, a new place and a new job, or guidance in my career, I should say. So as far as the new place, prior to this, in my other videos, I was actually in a 1-bedroom, and so a lot of people don't know this, but I actually was sleeping on the couch. So I had a 1-bedroom, and I have a 9-year-old daughter, and I decided to give her the room, and I took the living room, and of course I had like some clothes and stuff in the closet, but my room was basically the living room, and I created a space in the dining area, and that was my like my office area. That's where I had like my computer set up and my little bookshelf, stuff like that. So I had a very small apartment, but it worked. It served its purpose, and I was actually really grateful in that place. I experienced a lot of joy in that apartment, and I really just felt the Lord's presence that entire time that I was there. And I also felt when the Lord said that it was time for me to move on to something else. And so I got this place in the middle of, or I'm sorry, 1 week after I finished my 21 days is when I got the keys for this place. So obviously while I was fasting is when I actually applied for this place, and I was seeking, which was a lot sooner than I intended, because I thought I was going to move in March, but the Lord prompted me to get things moving quicker. And so the lady that actually owns this home, she owns this home, but she was living in this home, and she actually had to leave to California for a new job. So she was trying to get someone to move as soon as possible. And she actually didn't have any photos of what the house looked like inside. It only showed what the house looked like on the outside. So I really took a leap of faith by even inquiring about this place, but I really felt that the Lord said that this was the one. So when I actually came and seen the place, I just seen how beautiful it was, and the price that she was charging versus all of her upgrades that she's done. Honestly, she could have charged a lot more, but just considering all the other places that I've looked at in the area, and I think it was, I'm not gonna say why she charged what she charged. I'm just assuming it's because she had to leave very suddenly, and she was looking for someone to, be open to the idea that she was actually still living in this house, and she was living and fully functioning in this house when I came and looked at it. And most people, when you go look at a place, they don't really want to see your stuff inside of it. At least I would. Most of the time I wouldn't, but I seen the vision, and I trusted her that she was gonna have everything cleaned up and ready for me to move in when that time came, and she did. And I was not disappointed whatsoever. So I'm so thankful that I decided to take the leap of faith and move in here, and it has been nothing but amazing living here. I love everything. I love the living room, the bedroom, the bathroom. I love the area. So the community that it's in, I'm just completely in love with this place, and I'm just so thankful that the Lord blessed me with this place. But yeah, so moving was one of the things. Another thing I was believing for is a new direction in my career. So prior to this video, 6-7 months ago, I stepped away from teaching, and I had been on unemployment for that entire time. So, obviously unemployment doesn't last that long. So of course I had to figure out what my next move is going to be. So before my fast, and like throughout the time of me being on unemployment, I have been just kind of just shooting my shot and just throwing out throwing out my resume to different places, not really intentional about finding a job, but just doing it because I felt like it was the right thing to do. And obviously I hadn't got any calls back during that time. But once I began my fast, and when I started applying to jobs, that is when I started to get interviews and calls back and callbacks. So in this moment today, actually, I just left an interview, and obviously I don't know if I got the job yet, but I will say that I know that the doors are opening, because prior to that fast, I wasn't even getting any calls, and now I am. So the first interview, it was a group interview, and let me tell you, that interview was 11 people. And also, as far as group interviews, I am terrible at group interviews. I am always the person that is the quiet person in the room. So being in a group interview is just, I don't really thrive in that environment. But out of 11 people, I was 3 out of 11 to get chosen to go to the second interview. I didn't actually get that job, but it was just the fact that I was chosen, 3 out of 11. That's really good. And then I had gotten another phone interview. It was like a Zoom interview, but the lady actually couldn't figure out how to get her camera. So I was dressed from the waist up, ready for this interview. And when I got on, we couldn't see each other. We were just talking over the phone. And so I didn't actually get that job either. But the point is that the doors are opening. And then this job that I just interviewed for, I'm not gonna lie, I know a job is a job, I should be blessed, but I'm leaving it in God's hands because the area is not, it's not a bad area, it's just like not a familiar area that I'm used to being in. And just I guess like the vibe, or I don't really like to use those words, but like the people, I didn't really feel a huge connection with them. So I don't really know what to make of the interview. But like I said, the Lord is opening doors. I trust the Lord, if I get that job or if I don't, I trust that it's God's plan. So as far as a job, I haven't gotten one yet, but I've gotten many opportunities to have a job, which I didn't have that before. And I also got chosen to be a part of creating a aesthetics book. So my background is aesthetics. If you don't know what aesthetics is, it is it's skincare basically. So I am an esthetician, and I also taught in aesthetics. So I was an educator for aesthetics. So now I'm kind of drifting off into other things in the aesthetic industry. But yeah, I got chosen to help with creating a book. And so that would be just like a gig pretty much. It wouldn't be like a job. It would just be just a way for me to make money. So a lot of opportunities have presented themselves through this fast. I do believe that it was God showing me that the doors are opening. I'm just waiting for the right door to open. So that was my biggest thing as far as my fast went. Of course, I was believing God for a few other personal things, but overall, I really I feel like it. I wasn't disappointed whatsoever. So I do want to talk about the process of my physical experience, because I feel like that's super important. So I kind of already knew what to expect because I have done the fast many times, but I think this time I really felt them like I felt them even more intense, maybe because I was being more public with it. And I don't know, maybe I feel like God wanted me to experience those things so that I can talk about it. So of course, the good thing is, God performs miracles and comes through with blessings and clarity, and it's just overall just a great experience. But a lot of the physical experiences for me were sometimes I felt like it was a lot. Okay, so first thing was like the first week, a lot of headaches. I had just crazy headaches, very fatigued. So I spent a lot of time sleeping the first couple of days. And then after the first week, your body kind of just like gets used to it, and then you start feeling amazing. Okay, so the second week is actually like my favorite. It's because you're just like right in the middle of it. it's a great feeling. And then the third week, your body still feels amazing. Your body is starting to adapt to it, but I'm not gonna lie, I started to get sad because I knew that the fast was coming to an end, if that makes sense. So I felt like, not that God's not gonna still be right here with me, but I was grieving the fact that the fast was ending, which is, like I've had different experiences where like sometimes I was waiting for that last day and I was expecting like some rainbows in the sky or something like that. So I kind of was just like, like not really knowing what to expect, because on the 21st day, not necessarily are you gonna see like a rainbow in the sky or, glitter and fireworks. It's just an ending to your fast. But the good thing is, because I did it with my church, we did a community fast. That night we actually do a worship night, so we all get to worship and pray together, and it's just like a great experience. So it is kind of like fireworks and rainbows in the sky, because it's just like a grand finale. But yeah, so the grieving towards the end was crazy. Like I was like crying for no reason, and I did feel a little bit of sadness. But once the fast ended, once I started to eat actual foods or regular foods again, so like meat, caffeine, stuff like that, I had never experienced this before. So I feel like this is super important, because I wasn't, now that I'm able to drink caffeine and whatever other juices, sodas, not that I'm a big soda drinker, but I am a huge coffee drinker. So I wasn't drinking enough water, so I started to become dehydrated, and so I got what you call vertigo, where I just was feeling really dizzy, and that was because I was so dehydrated. So that was a little scary. I'm not gonna lie, I was on Google like, what's happening? But then I got like some electrolytes and I downed those and I felt a lot better. But that's one thing that was new that I experienced, that I feel like it's really important to talk about the after effects. Your body is, not used to you eating these certain foods, and so your lymphatic system is like kind of like out of shock, and so detoxing, it's like foreign objects going into your body, and your body's trying to figure out what's going on. So the after effect was, I will say, a little bit, I'm not gonna say traumatic, but I can't think of anything that is like not as extreme, but it's an experience, okay? But anyways, even with that experience, I still don't regret a single day of doing that fast. I know a lot of people, they don't truly feel like it is a fast because you're technically still eating, but for 21 days to be obedient and to abstain from certain foods, the Lord still sees your heart, and all I could say is at least for me, the Lord always comes through. So when it comes to fasting, you have to kind of go off of what is the Lord wanting for you to do. What kind of fast does God want you to do? Because God might want you to go on like a 3-day water fast, or like a 7-day juice fast, or whatever it is. That's between you and him. But at the end of the day, fasting does bring breakthrough, and I recommend it 10 out of 10. So that was just my quick testimony on my experience with the Daniel fast. I honestly was not disappointed. I honestly will be continuing to do it every year, as long as I feel like that I'm guided by the Lord. But thank you guys for watching my video. I'm still getting used to trying to figure out what setting would be good for this video. So, you know, in the next video I might have a complete different setup, but that doesn't matter. You know, it's all about what we're talking about. So thank you for watching this video.